Today, as you are here for October's Power Luncheon with the Cross Point, you will be encouraged, you will be inspired with Graham McKee's story. So with no further ado, I'm going to welcome our friend and brother, Graham McKee. Let's give him a warm round of applause.
So in 1985 is when I came to know the Lord. It was September. I had just gone from Bishop's University to the University of Western Ontario. I had been on a bit of a spiritual journey. I had two different believers share their faith with me, which led me to pursue this journey of this person that they had a personal relationship with. I had decided to attend Western because I wanted to become a teacher. And I wanted to go to Altos College to pursue that career choice. It was while going through the registration line that I ran into two young people who were at the Campus Crusade for Christ booth. Campus Crusade for Christ is now known as Power to Change Ministries. They got talking to me about spiritual things. I was on a spiritual journey. I thought I knew God. I thought I had this, something that other people told me about. The people from Campus Crusade soon found out that I didn't have what I thought I had. Anyway, they set up a meeting with me, and the next day I met with them in the Student Union building, and they proceeded to share the Holy Spirit booklet with me. If you are familiar with Campus Crusade at all, they have a 4 spiritual law booklet, and for those that have a relationship, they share the Holy Spirit booklet with them to lead that Spirit-filled life. Well, they soon found out that they needed to go back to the 4 spiritual law booklet. So I went through that booklet with them. That day I did pray to receive Christ. And that ministry was very well trained. The next day they had me in a Bible study. They had me doing small groups. They had me sharing my faith in the student union area. It was all in. And I needed that. I had no trouble admitting that I was a sinner. I had no problem admitting I needed help. I really enjoyed the fact that I can be forgiven for my sins, that I could get over, that I could have freedom from the guilt, the shame, freedom from the hurt that I've done to other people. That was all very appealing to me. So as I said, I jumped in with both feet. I got involved. They taught me about the importance of Bible reading, about Bible memorization, about quiet times as part of their, that's the word I'm looking for, as part of their mandate to disciple believers. That all became very important to me really at a really young spiritual age. Well, I graduated from Teachers College and then I got a job in Aurelia. I was hired by a principal there by the name of Rod Bennett. Rod Bennett attended Emmanuel Baptist Church at the time. He was also the principal of Twin Lakes, where Sean attended. It was at that time that, I guess after I was hired, Rod Bennett went home and said to his wife, "Oh, I hired this Christian guy today." See, even at a young Christian age, I always liked doing what I call putting up the flag. Okay, I always thought I'd say something that maybe gives someone a hint that I was a believer, and we would start talking and we would get to a deeper level of friendship. So I did this with this principal. Well, he went home and told his wife he hired this new Christian teacher today. And Marilyn said immediately, "Oh, I have to introduce him to Darlene." I'll come back to that story later. So anyway, when I went to Aurelia, another interesting thing where I believe God had his hand, I moved there in July, I believe it was, because I was starting to teach in September. And I knew I needed a church because I was told I needed a church. So I went to one church, I knocked on the door. There's no answer, so I walked in anyway. I walked through the halls and I saw nobody. I said, "Well, that's friendly church. I guess they leave the doors open," but I didn't find anybody. So I went across the street. And I went across the street to First Baptist Church in Aurelia. And there was a person there named Randy Jolliffe, who's now with the Lord. And he welcomed me in. He started introducing me to people. And I got involved in that church. So that church became a very important community to me. And is it at that time that I met Sean. Sean and I have done a lot of things together, and I guess I'll go through some of those. First of all, Sean was there the day I met Darlene, my wife. We went to a sleigh ride at this teacher's home. He had beautiful Clydesdales horses. And we went up to his farm, and we were on a sleigh ride. And that was the day that I met my wife. Also, we were in each other's weddings. We went on a missions trip together with our daughters down to Louisiana and helped to rebuild homes that were destroyed by Hurricane Katrina. We have done mountain biking together. We have kept in touch for over 33 years. Sean and I have done a lot of things together. I've seen him at good times. I've seen him in troubled times, but also he has seen me in the same way. Relationships like this are what help people do life together. I'm presently employed as a supply teacher. I really enjoy supply teaching because I have no worries. I have no planning to do. I have no marking to do. I don't have to deal with parents. I hope you're not one of those parents. And I don't have to get involved in any of the school politics. Well, on a regular basis anyway. I am really comfortable showing up the day of and having no idea what I'm doing until I get there. I am very comfortable with that. Unlike public speaking. Unlike being invited to speak here. Sean has talked numerous times about getting me out to speak. Well, I did speak here once before. That was probably 25 years ago. Different seasons of life. And 2 weeks ago, I met Denisha for the first time. Sean had talked about bringing on this new person to Cross Point. And I prayed about it. I prayed about it with him. I prayed for this person, but I'd never met this person. I had been attending church with this person for 2 years. We switched to Mapleview during COVID, and this person didn't even know I was attending church with her and her family, but I sat near them, and Denisha is just the type of person that, to me anyway, exudes confidence. Her husband exudes confidence. I admired them from across the aisle. To watch Denisha's passion in worshiping, even with a mask on. Okay? To see their family coming to church. I had a little bit of empathy in my heart because my family is all moved. But here I see her husband, her family. Well, we finally met about a week and a half ago when Denisha found that it was me that Sean had asked to speak. So we went and we talked. And right away, Denisha's warm heart, her compassion to me, as I shared about the anxiety I would probably start to feel as this day got closer, because now I knew I was doing something and I knew I needed to plan it. I knew I needed to organize it. I knew I needed to write and rewrite and rewrite. I'm not even following this anymore because that's not the way I roll. I'm a supply teacher. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm supposed to just go in and do it. So anyway, as I was preparing for today, and I did prepare, I spent a lot of hours, believe it or not. Those hours were not spent in vain, and I'm going totally off script right now. And usually I would walk away and start walking around the class, but I know I can't do that here. Those hours were not in vain because I tell you what, those hours spent ministered to my heart. I know I'm supposed to come here today and minister to your heart. And Lord willing, there'll be something that I will say that will. But during the hours that I did to prepare for today, the Lord ministered to my heart. And the way he ministered to my heart is he reminded me about his faithfulness. But in preparing for today, the thing that the Lord kept bringing back to me was community. The word community. Seasons of life was there, but community kind of overruled it. As I'm standing here right now, and as I was standing before everyone started coming. I started watching people coming. He just reiterated over and over, community, 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 because in seeing the number of people that are here today that I know and the impact that they've had on my life is very humbling. Community, I am going to go back and forth to my notes because there's a couple of, I think, are good sayings that I want to make sure I get out. Communities are made up of people just like you and me. The community I was part of and continue to be part of has challenged me and encouraged me to grow in my faith. 2 years after I became a Christian, I started my teaching year by moving to Aurelia, as I've already said. The first year went really well. The second year, not so well. I went from Aurelia to Barrie Central, and I started teaching there. It is at that time, and it didn't take very long, I realized that I struggled with stress and anxiety. I struggled as a teacher. I was a high school teacher. I was fearful of my classes, and sometimes for good reason. But I was also fearful of failing. I was filled with anxiety. It kept me awake at night. It caused elevated levels of stress. And at this point in my life, I didn't respond well to that stress. I took a leave of absence from teaching and went into the business world. I worked with more business firms, and as a sales representative with more, I did experience some success. One of my rewards was for the success I did experience was we were given a trip. The trip was because I increased my sales by so much. And compared with all the other people in our company that won the trip, when you increase sales by 125%, when your sales were only $100,000 a year, it wasn't much. If you had $1 million a year and increased it to $2 million, that was significant. But it didn't matter because I won a trip. All expense paid trip to Bermuda. Darlene and I, 5-star resort. Okay. We had just bought our first home. We had one little one. While we were in Bermuda, we were in our room, in our 5-star resort, in our room, sitting, looking at our bank account to see if we could pay our bills, while everybody else was out spending money and enjoying their time. But we did pay our bills. The Lord provided. We trusted Him, and He provided more than what we needed. Towards the end of that season as a business form sales representative, and if you know the market, technology kind of put me out of work in some ways. I went from a salary job to a commission and salary to a straight commission to making very little. It's a perfect example of a mature business. I do also have a marketing diploma from, Fanshawe College. And I learned that the perfect example of a mature business, and that's what I was in. I even for a year tried my hand at brokering. That didn't go so well. We didn't bring in very much money that year. I hopped around to 2 other companies, and I realized then, because of the increase in stress, anxiety that came back, that I needed to make a change. That is when I went back to teaching. This time, though, I wasn't going to do high school because I thought that was maybe part of the problem. So I went to elementary school. But before I go on with that, there's a very important season of life that I need to tell you about. In 1997, I attended a meeting to start a hockey league. It would become known as the Barrie Christian Hockey League. That community allowed me to provide a safe place for me and my sons to participate in the sport of hockey. That allowed them the chance to play the game and to make friends. And along the way, had a chance to learn many life skills. It also allowed me not only a place to have fun and to learn my own lessons along the way, but also to provide an opportunity to serve the needs of others, both those of the faith and those not yet of the faith. The significance of this league becomes more evident to me the longer I'm away from it. I was involved for 20 years. I have been away for the last few years because my boys have graduated and doing other things. 2 weeks ago, I was walking through Rona, and a man came up to me and reintroduced himself to me, and he reminded me of, he was an assistant coach of mine. And he reminded me, and I almost hate saying this because I don't like talking about myself in this way, but he reminded me of the impact I had on him and his son. I was the coach, he was my assistant. The thing that stood out to him most, and he's not a believer, and he admitted that to me again the other day, or reminded me the other day, the thing that stood out most to him was the power plays. So a good friend of mine, Bert Logan, is here today. He is the president of the league, has been, I think, since the second year it's been in existence. Okay? And he gave me an opportunity to practice some of my skills, to practice some of my passions in that league. Wendy, who is also here, is also a huge part of the league. Actually, she does most of the work. Bert just wears the title. Right, Bert? So these people have given me the opportunity to do something I really enjoyed. And this man continues to remember the league as having a huge impact in his life. It was a great ministry for me, and it gave me a chance to do ministry with other people. And as I look around, the Brookses have been involved for years, okay, with the league. Hopefully I don't forget somebody else here, but so when I saw people coming in, I'm seeing this, and Jason, all the work that you've done, the coaching and all that, right? And Ron, okay, it's great to see. Anyway, so I returned to teaching. My goal of becoming a full-time teacher was never realized. I just didn't do well with the stress and the anxiety. So you know what? The Lord gave me a real peace that I will be content as a supply teacher. And I made it my goal to be the best supply teacher, to be the best friend to teachers, to be the best teacher to students, to always raise the Christian flag as much as I could without raising the Christian flag, because it was a public school system. Things have changed a lot. In the school system, things have changed a lot in my life. To confront the struggles in life, whether it's my anxiety, whether it's the challenges in business, whether it's the challenges as a teacher, to confront these things, the thing that meant the most to me was what I call the spiritual disciplines. First introduced with me at Campus Crusade for Christ. Further embedded in my mind at Emmanuel, the season I spent at Emmanuel Baptist, many, many years. Working in day camp, as David Mann just reminded me of today. Working in youth ministry. A season my wife and I spent at Harvest Bible Chapel. Same thing, serving in ministry, youth ministry. Ushering, greeting, that's where I met Ken Rounds. Okay? Next set of life. I know pastors, I'm the kind of guy pastors don't like, okay? We moved to Mapleview. Okay, well, actually we went back to Emmanuel, continued serving, went to Mapleview, started serving there right away. The Lord has given me a wife who loves serving. He has given me a heart to serve. And through the disciplines of prayer, morning quiet time, devotions, tithing, church attendance, serving the Lord has blessed me. In our current season, we're at Mapleview. COVID, first of all, and then a war. Russia, Ukraine. I met Dennis. I met Dennis at the English class that the Lord allowed me to be part of, where I got a chance to teach English to over 40 different Ukrainian people, and some Russian-speaking people as well. We prayed together. Yes, Ukrainians and Russians praying together. to be part of Dennis's life. He has challenged me in what may become the next part of my career. Throughout my life, I've always said, Lord, what now? What next? Where can I serve? What could I do? Where can I be of service? That's my passion, to serve. And when I told Denisha what I was going to talk about, and then I read what she wrote about me, about a servant, and about the blog, about the potter and the clay, and Denisha signs off her letter, servant of the Lord, or something like that. Well, that's all I am. I'm just God's servant, piece of clay. But I do believe that the Lord has honored Darlene and my commitment to him, to his church, even though it's been 3 different churches, to ministries, whether it's the BCHL, whether it's doing English classes to Ukrainian adults, whether it's youth ministry, whether it's day camp. Because at Mapleview, as soon as I started there, they welcomed me and they put me in work at day camp. I loved it. Day camp were some of the best years of my life as an adult. Dennis has challenged me to kind of pursue my dreams as he's trying to pursue his dreams. So what's next for me and Darlene? Well, 2 years ago, we sold our house because the market was good. Rent is not so great anymore. That's too much, but that's okay, because you know what? The Lord continues to provide. Through all those lean, troubling years, we never missed a mortgage payment. God is faithful. We have 3 adult children, all married. 2 of them have kids of their own. I'm a grandpa 4 times. Know the hard part about that? None of them live here. Okay, my oldest son and my 2 granddaughters live in Surrey, British Columbia. My daughter, her husband, and their 2 kids live in Calgary, Alberta. And my son went ahead and got, well, not his fault, he got posted to Halifax, Nova Scotia. This is a big country. I just wish that 2 of them at least would get into the same province. Because then who knows what may happen. But to wrap up, what is next for Graham McKee? I don't know. Teaching in the public schools is becoming more challenging all the time. The Lord has laid on my heart, and this is where Dennis is encouraging me, maybe, Graham, you need to start a Christian school. There are a number of Christian schools already in this city doing a great job. But that's not going to be the Christian school that I feel led to lead. There's a lot of people that can't afford the Christian schools that are operating right now. Those kids need Christian education too. That's all I'm going to say about it. So thank you for allowing me to share today. There's many other things I could have talked about. But just in closing, I would just, if you're not asking the Lord what next, if you're not feeling like you are being used by the Lord, then step out. You are successful business people, and that takes time. I know it takes time. But the greatest blessings I received is when I was serving others. And I'm just going to challenge you to maybe make some time in your busy lives, in your busy days, to think about that. Thank you.